I don't like the excuse, oh, I've just started, or I'm a year into my career, I can't give back. You're a year into your career, but someone is not even a day into their career yet, and they, exactly. Hi, my name's Eddie. I'm a self-taught web developer. I'm full stack. I've been in the industry for 15 years. I have clients from high street banks to government bodies to startups to interesting fintechs. And I'm keen to get you the job that you deserve. If you're here, that means you want to push your skills, you want to learn more, and you want to do some great things. So subscribe and put in the comments below. Let me know what sort of videos you're interested in, how I can help you. What events would you like to go to? Maybe I can go to and ask questions for you and get the information for you. What sort of videos and what sort of content would you like to see? Just let me know in the comments below. We're here at DevSecCon London 2019, where it's getting developers focusing on security and in the open source area specifically. We had an amazing roundtable at lunchtime today, which I chaired, and it was really interesting to see people's challenges. Some people have challenges where their team is so spread out over the globe and there are so many teams around the globe, they're reinventing the wheel when there's so much overlap. I was saying they should do brown bags every Friday lunchtime, and different cities can host those brown bags, and then you can stream remotely to all the other teams around the world. It's showing the other teams the interesting things that you're working on. You can learn from each other's challenges and use each other's technologies. When you have teams around the world, it makes it more difficult. And even if you're just a small team, people are learning different things all the time. They're watching different YouTube videos, they're reading different blogs, following different people on Twitter, which is great. So if you have those brown bags weekly where you bring your food and you just chat, someone just proposes, it's a bit like an unconference. You just propose a talk you want to talk about, or you propose a talk you want to hear more about, and just have it really casual, and it's a great way to learn. It's kind of what I'm doing on my YouTube channel. I am sharing the things I've learned, the challenges I've had. I'm speaking to so many awesome people, and I want to share their story with you. Now I'm here at DevSecCon 2019, an amazing venue called Hawker House, and I have the super awesome Sam with me.
As far as I like to split my day job and what I like to say my night job, not that I'm a lady of the night, but during the day I work for a company called Sneak. They're a software security company, and I run their community arm of the business, so that's what we're doing here today. So we've just rebranded and launched a community called My DevSecOps, and it's all about sort of shifting security left. And so a lot of my role on a day-to-day basis is getting developers more excited and understanding about how security and sort of DevSecOps can sort of help them code sort of more secure applications. So that's what I do during the day. I like to bring people together. And then by night, I run a podcast. I run a women in tech community.
Which one?
It's called Circle.
Okay.
And the main name of that is more talking about a lot of women's advice they get when they're struggling with something is more the entrepreneurial type stuff. You know, you don't like what you're doing, start your own thing, or leave, or find new work, or anything like that. And so what we try to focus on is let's talk about how do I stay? How do I have these conversations?
Interesting.
But all for a very technical audience. We don't necessarily cover the technical language and stuff. There's enough, Java and Python or whatever communities out there. But the challenge is that those types of humans may face on a day-to-day basis.
That's actually really, really interesting, because you're right. I'm of the mentality, if you're not happy, fuck that company, they don't deserve you. If they're not looking after you, leave. But you're right. I mean, don't get me wrong, if it happens to me, I do try a little bit and try and improve, but most people in power are too busy to give a shit. And so I think that's just really interesting take on it.
So there's two different aspects to this. There's, you don't value me, you're a horrible human, you don't care. By all means, go, run for the moon, go somewhere that values you. But a lot of the time, we're dealing with human beings. Not everyone, like 90% of the population are nice humans. They have their own things. We need to have a little bit of empathy back. There's a misunderstanding. Maybe it's a very young company that doesn't understand how to support someone who is having their first child. Maybe it's a company who, is predominantly of one race and doesn't realize that when you think you're being funny, it is actually not funny. We try to figure out how do we empower someone to stay and have those conversations, but I'm never saying stay when it's a toxic environment. So it's the empathy side of things, I think, and understanding that humans are just humans. And sometimes people don't even realize, they're not out to get you, they're not out to spite you. They've got I like to say everyone's got their own monkeys, right? Their own monkeys, their own baggage they're dealing with. Maybe their boss is being mean to them, maybe they're feeling a bit stressed, maybe they don't know that you can help with that thing or want to even do it. Open your mouth. say something.
What is the community? So Circle.
Circle
How, if people want to join, because a lot of my audience is actually women.
Circle community is more of your stereotypical face-to-face type meetup style events. We rely very much on our community to help us grow. So myself and a very good friend of mine, Laura Schellenberg, who is rock star in everything, we like to say we will do everything we can to bring people together, to find great speakers, venues, but we need our community to get involved. So
I'll definitely check it out. A couple of places I'd like to say for space have been really good to us, to our community, which we started recently, Code Mortals. Just to explain the name, we struggled to come up with a name, and then this one just like hit us straight in the face. And it was like, it's obvious because we really don't believe in rock stars, ninjas, 10x developers. When people come in and say, look, you don't need anybody else, I'm a 10x developer, I'm like, there's a door. Not interested, just I haven't got time for that. You either all succeed as a team or you all fail as a team. There's no ninja, rock star or wizards.
It's okay to be happy with what you've been doing.
It's true. And I think it doesn't matter where you are now, it's really important. Are you further ahead than you were yesterday?
I do a lot of work with like junior developers, and the same sort of thing of like, when I get up the mountain, like when my code gets a bit better, then I'll, do something on GitHub. And then you sort of speak to them about like how they're finding work and stuff, and they're like, I'm really, really struggling because everyone's asking for commercial experience or whatever it may be, and I've got nothing to show them, or I've only had one job. And as you say, that progression thing, like your code today is going to be better than your code yesterday. And so if I'm a company looking to hire, as a junior developer, I'm not looking for rocket science here, right? I'm looking for the way your mind works, what you're doing. And if I can see something that you put on GitHub, a month ago, and now today has improved, I can then see, wow, you don't know everything. But that difference within a month, imagine what you could do for us within a year. Like, look at it that way and not go, this is really crap, I'm never going to put it up there. Like, how do you show progression? How do you show that? And it's like, it's a carbon footprint of what you've been up to.
I love that, and I can't agree more. Another thing I really like is when people give back to the community. I don't like the excuse, I've just started, or I'm a year into my career, I can't give back. You're a year into your career, but someone is not even a day into their career yet. And exactly, if you look back and if you can help people, not only will it help the community become stronger, not only will it help you become a better person, because you'll learn so much by showing or teaching somebody else. I think that's really important. How often do you have these events?
So if I'm completely honest, we took a little bit of a break over the extended summer with me starting at Sneak and Laura buying houses and things like that. We've had about a couple months hiatus, but usually we'll meet anything between 4 to 6 weeks. One of the reasons why we did that was both of us come from community backgrounds. So, at one stage I ran something ridiculous, like 12 communities at one time. Her at the same time, she's more on the marketing side, but loves the community. That when we set up Circle, we almost set it up in a selfish way. So definitely to give back and share knowledge, but we were the target audience. We wanted to discuss something that sort of early 30-year-olds who, not necessarily were lost in their careers, but wanted to take, to the next level, the very specific stuff to us, as well as the speakers that we wanted to see, because we run so many events where, don't get me wrong, we love what's going on in those events, but like I run software communities, I'm not a software developer by trade. And so this one was very much about, so for us, not that any community is not quality over quantity, but for us, it's very much about finding that quality content. How do we, really make sure that there is a value and a takeout of every single event we do?
On my YouTube channel, I'm always encouraging people to put themselves out there, to stand out. So when I get CVs thrown across my desk, I look for the ones who have a GitHub link at the top, for example, right? A LinkedIn link, you can write anything you want on there. You could write, you're the CEO of Google or whatever it is. It probably get reported as not true, but you can still write it. For me, that's not so useful. So I want to see people's GitHub work, as you mentioned before, not just their coding, their collaboration with other people, their thinking, they document stuff, even if it's only their side pet project they did on the weekend. It's really keen to see that. And you briefly mentioned earlier some of the other tips you have, and I'm really keen for you to voice those because you got to stand out. Some people don't like social media. So I really believe GitHub is social coding. Then there's the social media and the personal branding. And some people don't like being in front of the video. Some people don't like writing blogs. I think people should find something they do like, be it writing a blog post, be it taking pictures, be it video, be it podcasting. But you came up with some other ones which I think blew my mind. They were really good. So I want to let you talk about those.
But on the LinkedIn thing, I always say, you got to put on what supports your profession, right? So if you're a developer, where's your GitHub? If you're a designer, where's your Behance? I'm a community manager. Where's my meetup profile or whatever it is? Sort of what is the social platform that supports what you do as a person? Your LinkedIn is maybe a more extensive version of the CV I've got in front of me, because you itemize your CV a bit. But the thing on getting also involved in standing out, I've heard a lot of developers say this, so I kind of just want to put it out there, is why is it not enough to just be a good developer? And unfortunately, if you really do want to grow in your career and stuff, to doing a 9-to-5 great coding is great, but in terms of progression and reach and stuff, you do get a little bit stifled. And it's because the people who are making the decisions about your career never see your code. So, what blog posts are you writing? What meetups are you speaking at or attending? What are your favorite books? And getting involved a little bit more in the community in some way, whether it's Twitter or whatever, allows your name to constantly come up to those people who are making those decisions.
Tell me the story about, I think it was a lady and the T, I don't want to say too much, and the T and the CV, this is just amazing.
We were talking about sort of how to stand out and CVs and things like that. So the empathy on both ends, right? When you apply for a role, number one, you send out your CV. Mary, on the other hand, she's probably like maybe the marketing manager and she's trying to hire, right? Because she needs another human to help her. She's overworked, stressed, and you don't get a response. So you just think, they look at my CV, they hate me. No one ever responds. So my first thing before we get into the story is please, if you're looking for a job, follow up. 80% of the time, go out, apply for as many roles as you can, find those ones. But there's that 20% that if you got a job there or the type of role or the company, you would love it. Follow up with those human beings. They may have looked at your CV and gone, I'm going to get back to Mandy later. And then later's all of a sudden a week has gone by and I haven't got back to you. I call it the 3-touch rule though. Follow up 3 times. If no one gets back to you, it's their loss, not yours. Move on. And then try be a little bit different with those 20%. So we were talking about a story where we had a UX designer. She was looking for work. So what she did was she printed out a very nice looking, she was UX and she liked design, thing of her CV. And she got made almost like a build your own tea type kit, tea leaves, tea strainer, mug, everything, with a little note, and it was, sort of, you've had a really rough day, take a break, have a cup of tea. Oh, and by the way, if you want, please look at my CV, I'd like to have a chat. Now she got the job, but that didn't get her the job. That got her to the top of the pile. You still need the skills or the culture fit or whatever it may be to get the role. All you're trying to do is get yourself to the top of the pile. People who host events, you really want to work at their company, go to an event at their company. You're in front of them, you meet face to face, you build a rapport. Then when your CV comes in, it's, I met Mandy yesterday. She was great. We still need to validate whether her skills are right, by all means. People are really scared to ask for intros, right? We're like, I don't want to intrude. I met Sarah at an event, or my friend Bob works at this company, or whatever it may be. And we get really awkward about it. Do I know them well enough to ask for an introduction? Number one, you can always ask for a discussion. You don't have to say, can I have the job? But I would like to know more about the job. Number two is I can almost guarantee that about 80% of the organizations, specifically in London, but probably globally, it is way cheaper to hire through a referral than it is through a recruitment agent. So you asking Mandy or Mary or Bob, whatever, for an introduction makes them anything between 100 to, I know companies that do £3,000 referral bonuses. So you asking for an introduction is not you putting them out. It's you making them money if you work out. I read, so my favorite book is a guy, I can never pronounce his surname, but it's Chris I'm not even going to try. He writes something like, Side Hustle, $100 Startup. Okay. But one of his books a lot of people don't know is something called The Unconventionalist. No, that is a podcast. The Art of Nonconformity. That podcast is really good as well. But The Art of Nonconformity is the book. Read the book, number one. It's brilliant. But he talks about the concept of what is the worst that can happen. And if the worst that can happen is that no one's dead, ask that question. Apply for that role. Stand on stage when someone says, hey, do you want to do this talk? Have an interview in a random, sort of warehouse in the middle of London, and, if you swear a few times, oh, well, but what is the worst that can happen? The worst is usually actually not that bad. Maybe a little bit of embarrassment, maybe a bit of awkward feeling, but every time you want to do something and stop yourself, just think about what is the worst that can happen. If it's not the end of the world, just do it. By a guy named Andrew Tarvin, watch his TED Talk. It's Humor That Works. He's amazing. But he goes, in order to do something great, you have to do something.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I really like that.
Yes.
I think we should probably end on that.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Perfect. I mean, we can chat for hours.
We could.